Okay, so this video is to help you manage the pictures that you've taken of your stop motion animation in Premiere Elements 11 and turn them into an actual animation. So you start by going to make sure that you have a file project size that is appropriate to the pictures that you've taken. So if even when it opens up here, you have to go to New Project. It will give you the chance to put your name in there, so you should do that. And you should browse to find where you'd like it to go. But the project settings is what you need to change. And you choose depending on what you need. Like my frame size for these pictures with my students was 1920 by 1080. You guys might have to look into DV and see what size they have. This is a bit smaller format. But you might have to experiment a bit with that to find out what's right. Import just one picture and figure it out. So that with that done, you can make sure that your still images are going to load up the way that you need them to. Because they are still images, we go to Preferences in General and make sure that your still image default duration is between 2 and 4 frames. I'm going to keep mine at 4 because I know my students' work was a little bit slower here. You should have what looks like an empty timeline. Go to Add Media. Click on Files and Folders, and choose the place on your hard drive where you know those pictures are. Once you're in the right spot, you click on the first one, scroll down to the bottom one, shift-click on the last one that you want, and say Open. You'll notice that they're all in the Project Asset bin, and not all of these pictures I'll end up using. So again, I'm going to do that shift-click kind of thing to select the range. Click on here, this is the first one, and I'm going to scroll down and shift-click on the last one. These are all selected, and I can drag them down now into Video 1 layer. If I click in here, they'll all deselect. So make sure you hold down Shift to select that end point of the range and drag it down into Video 1 layer. If you're not pausing as you do this to watch what I'm doing so that you can do the same thing, you need to pause and do it as you go. So be ready with that space bar to stop the video and do your own job. So we can close our Project Assets bin, and you'll notice that these clips are easy to see. Yours, you might have seen yours pop in like so. So adjust this by dragging the slider until you can roughly see all the clips at once. To scrub through your animation to see how it looks right now, it might be a little slow or sluggish. That's because your green bar here might actually be orange. If it is, click on Render. Anybody with an orange bar, click on Render, and that will get you to this green state where the computer has had a chance to think through the changes you've made to the file and ready to preview them for you. Next, it's time to analyze how these pictures are sitting next to one another. So if you click on this blue home plate looking playhead, you can drag it to the side and just go through and see how things look. There's going to be, for example, this frame bumps up like the camera got moved, or the tripod that they were using got bumped. And you're going to have to make those changes if you want it to feel smooth. So for this one, for example, all of these clips are highlighted right now, so I should click in the gray below. So clicking on this, being careful not to click on this scissors, that'll be a bad move, the Applied Effects window, and changing the motion. This is good for when maybe just one frame is out of place. You can change the scale, you can change the position, left and right and up, and double check how it looks. I also noticed that at the top of my image, that is consistent from about here to about here. So it could be useful for us to crop it all at once. Go down to Regular Effects, which will eventually make its way into Applied Effects. And instead of Advanced Adjustments, you want to go down to Transform and Crop. And you can't just click this and expect it to go onto the correct clip. It has to be placed on the clip itself. So if I click on this clip, that the one that my playhead is actually on, that's a bit of a confusion, but you have to have it not only visible but chosen. go to your effect, drag this into that particular clip. You'll adjust it in a second. So we dragged on that effect. We look in the applied effects for that particular clip, and we can open this to look at how it began to crop that image. The left side needs to come in a bit, so we drag this, and then the top is off. The right side we need to go back. Bottom, I don't think we need to crop any of the bottom. If we were to be content with this, we'd have these weird black bars here. So it would be worth our while to also press zoom. Now if the crop is really off, it's going to distort, and what can you do? It's just going to fill up the rest of this frame with the content that you've got. So if you're happy with that, you can apply that same crop effect to all of the other clips that had that poor cropping. Right click on this and copy that effect. Find the clips that you also need to have that effect cropped onto to here. So I'm going to drag a box around those ones as well. You've already copied that effect, now you paste it, Control V. It looks like I might need to crop a little bit more to the right on some of those. Now I'd have to go back and fix some of these other spots. As I scrub along, I'm just looking to see if all of the green tape is gone, and I see one more, so let me fix that. Go up to my crop, drag it down onto that particular clip, adjust the crop, and we might need to do a little bit of scaling. You have to go back into motion. If you find that one of the clips is angled wrong, you can go up into, click on that clip first of course, and then go up into motion, and you can change the rotation of it. Because you'll end up clipping a little bit off, you might have to also scale it up a bit. And I know there's a lot of rotational problems in this video, so you'll just have to bear with the work. Some of the frames are going to be very yellow. The way you can change that is by individually going up to the adjust, changing things like the color. One thing that you'll find is maybe a bit frustrating. Commonly you'll get to a clip that you want to change, and then you'll think that because you can see it, that'll be the clip that changes. So let's say you want to adjust the sky from this yellow color to somewhat more white, and you go to color and you start dabbling around in all these different options, lightness, all sorts of things. You're like, why isn't it doing anything? That's because you don't have the right clip selected. So this clip has all sorts of funny changes to it, but not the one that you wanted. So just press Ctrl Z, go back to that clip, press Ctrl Z until you're back to where you were, or you can press reset and click on the clip that you want to change and do your tinkering there. If you choose lightness, make sure you're not losing some of the darks that are in here. We want to keep this dark, so it's possible that you might want to use one of the effects instead, and apply an advanced adjustment of image control onto your clip. Image control is a bit more compact. Within the applied effects, you can change brightness, contrast, and a little bit of the hue. Saturation refers to how vibrant something is. The benefit of doing it in image control is that you're able to copy this effect and paste it into some of the other frames that also had similar issues. One last applied effect that you can try within color correction, the hue, saturation, and luminance tuner. Drag that onto your clip, and this is a variety of options. Within hue, right now this is feeling a little yellow, right? So we can tone that down, but you can also change the saturation of yellow in particular. So for yellow, if we take that saturation down, you can see it starts to move towards gray, and the same yellow that we had been modifying, we can increase its luminance to make it brighter. Of course, you'll want to render after you do all your changes, but that's the basic idea. Drop these effects onto the timeline clip. Once it's on the timeline clip, it can be copied. That effect can be copied and pasted onto the other effects, so it doesn't take you so long. then you can finally publish and share your work. So click on Publish and Share, and you're going to export for a computer to view. You're going to change to MPEG. There are presets that are consistent with what your original file was. So try to get it as close to what your original dimensions of your video were. This one, 1080p, close to 30. Now I don't want to leave my file name untitled, so I'm going to call it my first name dot last name dot the project. Make sure it's going to the right spot. So we're going to browse to for students and in media art in B class stop motion, and just out in stop motion is fine. You don't need to put it in your own folder. So press OK. Share workbar area only refers to this gray bar that's here. If you had this here, it would not include it in the video, and we should be good. Save. Once it's done, you can double check that it's in the correct spot in our file explorer, and then we can all watch it together. Done. Congratulations.